has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Along with the legend of Carver High, I'm Ferrall. We're in New York. It's coast to coast on a Tuesday on SportsGrid TV. It's good to have you with us as we continue to bash everyone that has a problem in the NFL. And there are many, and the litany continues here in the third hour.
Yeah, I'll finish all the owners with this. So here's John Mara. The Giants obviously are keeping Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. Now, there's a couple of different clips thrown in here of Mara really being asked about these guys, and every answer, it sounds more and more like he didn't want to keep them. I have no idea why he did. Here's John Mara.
Because we stunk this year, okay? The results on the field were not what we wanted them to be. There were a number of factors that went into that. A lot of that has already been discussed with the coach and with Joe, and will continue to be discussed. But I liked what I heard from them on Friday afternoon. I like what their plan is going forward.
The wool over your eyes.
And we're going to stay with it.
It gets better.
Do these guys come back on the hot seat now?
You guys are going to have them number one on the hot seat going forward. So no matter how I answer that question,
In your mind.
we're going to have to see. I'm going to have to be in a better mood this time next year than I am right now.
How long will it take to improve the product, John?
It better not take too long, Bruce, because I've just about run out of patience.
I've just about run out of patience. You could have fired him yesterday. You could have been done with it. No one would have thought the wiser. What?
This is the most anemic thing I think I've seen on this show in 2 years. We've been here 5. That's the most anemic thing I think I've ever seen.
It's just tremendous. It really is.
Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are awful. They're awful. I don't care who they effing draft.
But here's where this is a problem. Okay, now first of all, they're picking third, and there's only 2 quarterbacks everyone likes. So they're already behind the 8 ball with that. And then you're going to give up a bunch of assets for 2 guys that maybe aren't even as good as all the quarterbacks that were drafted last year. You have no idea. And the next thing is, if you bring in a rookie quarterback, what do they think? They're going to win 11 games next year with a rookie quarterback? So are you firing them if they don't make the playoffs next year, but they win 6 or 7 games? They won 3 this year. That would be an improvement. What's the line? He has set himself up to where we're going to fire everybody next year and then start over again? It's just nonsense. It really is. These guys just can't figure it out sometimes.
Yeah, you're right.
They just can't figure it out. Neighbors did set a Giant record with 108 catches, so I guess that was an okay.
And he's miserable. He's miserable.
Oh, he's miserable.
Well, here's the deal, kid. Here's the deal. I know you're just a young kid. So here's how it works. You got drafted by the Giants, and they own you. They own you. You're not going anywhere, brah. I mean, you think you have some kind of juice as a first-year completed rookie season, that you have juice because you caught all these passes from 10 different quarterbacks? No one listens to you at all. You're just you're going into your second year. You're going to play 5 years with the Giants, whether you like it or not. You need to catch up, bro. This ain't like college football. You can move around and play for whoever you want. This is the NFL. They own you. I mean, honestly, it's like, there's nothing I'm missing here. They own your ass. You're going nowhere, dude. Get used to it. You don't like New York? You know what you should do? You should party in New York and quit worrying about the Giants. You know what you should do? You should become Beckham. I mean, he never played hard in New York. He just partied and got laid. Why don't you just start going out and partying and getting laid? Because it's New York City, son. You can live large with that kind of money you got and that celebrity. But no one gives a rat's ass about your career with the Giants because the Giants are hairdryer city. You're never winning with the Giants, kid. What you need to do is start partying. You need about 5 or 6 lovers in Manhattan. You lie to all of them and just keep living large. Penthouse, son. I got that right, too, didn't I?
Living large. You've already, of course, mentioned Steichen and Ballard, so we saw that already.
Oh, my God.
We know that they're staying in Indianapolis. The Bengals fired defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, so it was his fault this year. He takes the blame.
I don't believe that was a good move at all. I think that
I don't
he is
either.
a good coach, and I think they screwed that up. It's
I
not
agree.
his fault that they sucked all year.
I think it's not his fault that since they went to the Super Bowl a few years ago, they don't blame Zach. And since they went to the Super Bowl a few years ago, they have lost players on D and not brought them back because, as you said before, Mike Brown is cheap. So they've gone cheap on D because they have to pay the big offensive players. And that's Lou's fault, I guess. So Lou's done. The Bears asked permission to talk to Mike McCarthy. Now, remember, McCarthy is technically now a free agent. His contract is up. He is not beyond this year with the Dallas Cowboys. But the Cowboys have exclusive rights to him until January the 14th. So the Bears put in a request to speak with him, and allegedly that has not even been responded to yet but for the Bears. So I personally think that this is a ploy by McCarthy's team to get Jerry out and make a decision. Are you bringing me back or not? Because I got to get moving here if someone else wants to hire me.
I like the sound of that it's a ploy, but I also know that you can't, what are you going to call up the Bears and say, hey, would you do us a favor and pretend like you want Mike McCarthy so that we can play Jerry Jones? That's not happening. The reality is this. A, next Tuesday, they have to cut a deal with him. B, I would rather coach in Chicago in a division that he knows and get a 5-year deal to coach the Bears and knowingly that I'm going to get at least 3 or 4 years out of that than to coach one more year in Dallas for Jerry Jones and get fired. Because Jerry Jones ain't giving him 3 or 4 years. He's already dealt with him for 3 or 4 years. And they haven't won. And I actually think Dak Prescott has much less of an upside than Caleb Williams does. I think he'd do better in the North, which he's already won a Super Bowl in, than he will in Dallas dealing with that monster on your back. I mean, is there anything worse than Jerry Jones, who thinks he's the end-all to the NFL and the world in Dallas? He never shuts up. He does TV and radio shows. He's everywhere. I, in fact, saw him on, what did I see him on? Some TV show last night. I saw him in some movie. I saw him in some, what was it that I was watching?
Oh, the Landman thing that you guys have been talking about.
And I'm like, what is happening here? This guy thinks he's a movie star too. And I'm just like, oh my God, at least in Chicago, let's face facts. You never hear from the McCaskies or even that crappy GM of theirs, who's a complete loser. I mean, I actually think that if he was there, he'd be the king of the castle. In Dallas, he's a pauper.
Not a bad, and a young quarterback that you'd get to work with, obviously, in Caleb Williams. So much different situation. We shall see. Like you said, if they want him bad enough, just wait till next week. Then he can go and talk to you how much he wants to. So that's all you got to do is hold out a week.
I think you're going to interview that job in 5 seconds in Chicago.
They're going to interview 600 people anyway. That they're already out. I mean, they've put in requests for everybody who's ever breathed.
Of them are drips.
Agreed. Speaking of interviews, it was just made official. The Patriots will interview Vrabel on Thursday. That's when Mike Vrabel will interview for the Patriot job. Well, they've already started interviewing people today. Notably, Byron Leftwich and Pep Hamilton interviewed for the Patriot job today. So, look. Byron Leftwich and Pep Hamilton. They've got to make sure.
Where did Brian Leftwich go? He disappeared. He came back. What are you, Houdini?
He's back. Interviewed for the Patriot head coaching job today. So did Pep Hamilton.
Hire another black guy. He's already been down that road. Let's stop with all the other bullshit. He's a racist, and you can quote me on that. I don't care what anybody says. He screwed that dude over so bad it's not even funny, so he can hire a white boy. That's it. Game over. I'm done listening to all this bullshit. I'm done with it. Done with it. You can have it. Talk about whatever you want.
This was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs, and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High has been just saying so many things to me in the break that are just hilarious. He's like a comedian. He's
you want another? I'll give you one more funny one because I just love scrolling through seeing all these teams that have asked permission to speak with guys. This other one just made me laugh too. The Jaguars want to interview Robert Saleh because I guess the job he did at the Jets the last few years was so good that the Jaguars want to interview Robert Saleh as their next head coach. So it's amazing. Arthur Smith, Robert Saleh. The Jets are going to interview the guy who was just the interim in New Orleans, the Rizzler, Rizzy. He's on their list to go in. The Rizzler.
He went to Bergen Catholic, so he's got to
get the Rizzler in there. You got to get the job. And Rex interviewed today officially. Rex Ryan interviewed for the Jets.
I hope he gets the job because he's so funny.
I do too. I think it'd be great. The amount of comedy that we get from Rex being back.
They haven't won.
They haven't. Bring him back. Let's have a laugh. I mean, if I was a Jets fan, I wouldn't want him
title
back.
games, and they still fired him. Like it is such an anemic league with decision makers. The owners of these teams are all a bunch of absolute idiots. Honestly, how do you fire a guy that goes to 2 title games and you've never won anything ever? I mean, somebody said to me this weekend, I was talking about him. We were talking about, it was my son. We were talking about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and everything else. And he said to me, have they ever won in your life? And I said, no. I said, in 1969 or whatever, I was 4. So I didn't know anything about the NFL. So in my lifetime, they've never won anything. And he's like, I don't think they ever will. He said, I actually think they're just one of those teams that will never win because they just are so anemic. And I was like, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever win. Ever.
It's not, it's very possible.
It's the only guy that ever won.
Bring him on back. Get Rex back in there. There you go. If I see any other interesting interview candidates before we leave, I'll let you know.
So we're clear. He is the funniest guy and the most entertaining guy on ESPN on their entire effing network.
Mm.
Bar none. They're going to pay to one guy $300 million. He's so painful that if the TV's on in my house and my wife hears that guy's voice, she won't have sex with me for 2 months. I'm not allowed to have ESPN on the television in any room as long as that Smith guy's on television. My wife will literally dry up like the Mojave Desert if I have that guy on the TV ever. I haven't watched that guy in 2 years. The only guy that's worth watching that's funny is Rex Ryan on that Get Up. That's the best show they got because they got him. He's better than everyone on there, too, including the host. He's entertaining. He's funny. He's stupid. He has fun. This is what people watch television for, not to hear some guy bloviate about how wonderful he is and how he's better dressed than everyone and how he's smarter than everyone. That guy talks like he knows football. Meanwhile, the only thing he knows in his goddamn life is basketball, and he doesn't even know that. Shut up. You painful bee. I'll beat your ass. I sat next to that guy in Vegas once. I wouldn't even say hi to him because I don't respect him. I respect everyone. Mike, who am I not nice to? Who am I not nice to that you've known in 10 years? Who am I not nice to?
I mean, there's a couple people you don't like. I mean, we can find a few people you don't like.
I'm relatively nice to everyone.
But you're relatively nice to everyone.
But
we
if
can
I want
find
to shake your
people.
hand, I want to beat your ass. I would love to beat that dude's ass. Not only would I beat his ass, I'll beat his ass in basketball. I'll beat his ass with my fist. He is painful. And then I just saw the other day, you're going to see even more of him. I would rather kill myself with a 9 Glock in my mouth than watch him for 30 seconds. You hear me? Loud and clear. Rex Ryan is the most entertaining commodity that entire effing network has. And you know what's funny? Is that I'm right. I'm so right, it's not even funny. There is not one moron that works in Bristol that doesn't know it either, because they're all a bunch of drips too. They have to know and realize that he's the funniest guy they got on the whole goddamn network. Bar none. It's not even close. It's not even close. No one is within a mile of him. And meanwhile, they're about to lose him.
Speaking of basketball,
I'm right about all of
let's
that
get
too,
to the
just so we're
NBA.
clear on a Tuesday. I want to be clear here today.
Very clear. NBA, we got a lot tonight. Let's do a few things quickly from last night.
Talk
The
about
Kings
the
beat
league
the
no one
Heat.
cares about. I'd be glad to.
Kings beat the Heat, 123-118, double overtime game. DeMar DeRozan,
9 of the 11.
9 of the 11 in the overtime, 9 of his 30 in the second overtime. NBC Sports California, DeRozan going off.
Tips it out to DeRozan on the carom, 6 on the clock. Playing with a spoon, sidestep 3 for him. DeMar DeRozan connects. DeRozan shoots it. Laces it. Belated Happy New Year.
You know what I like about DeRozan, Mike, is he's not afraid to shoot a mid-range jumper. The league is completely 100% turn 3 ball. Meanwhile, DeRozan just finds his spots mid-range and knocks it down. These buckets count as well.
They do count as well when you've got the mid-range shot. The Bulls beat the Spurs 114-110. Kobe White icing this game. I don't know if you saw the highlight of this dunk. I mean, this was a monster dunk from Kobe, NBC Sports Chicago.
Here's Levine against Paul. The drive, the kick. Kobe White drives it. Over the bucket!
Dunk it, Kobe White! Get up or get out the way! He said, meet me at the rim. Where you at with me? I didn't see you.
I like Kobe's game. I really do. But let me say this. Billy Donovan's Bulls suck, and they'll never amount to a hill of beans. They are so average. It's not even funny. And they pay that guy tons of money. Billy Donovan, let's get this out there. He is a great college basketball coach. In the NBA, he's a hack.
This this was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs, and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High. Let's keep going with the NBA rack.
Grizz beat the Mavericks 119-104 last night. They smashed them. The bad news for the Mavericks, who are already without Luka, they're going to be without Kyrie Irving. He's having back issues. He's expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks, the bulging disc. So he's going to be in a lot of problem there. Not a good scene. T-Wolves beat the Clippers 108-106. Ant going off last night for the Wolves late, getting it done. FanDuel Sportsnet, Minnesota.
Up Edwards, 30-point night. Watched by Jones. Edwards, sidestep, fires, and he drilled it! Quarter, 40 seconds to go in regulation. Edwards, 3 more. Cash!
Oh my God! What an unbelievable moment, man.
Yeah, it's so unbelievable. What's really unbelievable is that how far they went in the playoffs this year and how much they suck this year.
That is quite the moment. The Pistons have climbed their way back to 500, 118-115. They were down 9 at the half and came back to beat Portland at home last night. Hell of a job by the Pistons. Suns beat the Sixers. Pacers beat the Nets, and they covered that big number. Magic beat the Knicks. And I'll tell you, the Knicks, I've seen a little bit of them over the last few days, Scotty. Can we get some other guys involved instead of just playing the same 6 guys all night, every night? Because that's why they're losing all these games now. They're out of gas. The guy Tibbs just drives the same 6 guys into the ground every single night.
Games left.
I mean, honestly, you're going to have to work someone else into the rotation every once in a while. You're destroying these guys.
They have no one else. Bucks their bench is ass.
No one else. Bucks beat the Raptors by 24. Austin Reeves has been going off the last 6 games. I did have these numbers: 21-10, 27-6, 15-8-11, 35-9-10, 26-6-16, 26-10-10. Austin Reeves getting involved lately for the Lake Show.
Hillbilly Mamba getting involved. Those
he certainly has been very strong. Let's get to tonight in the NBA. So the Suns got the win in Philly last night. Now tonight, they are going to Charlotte, where they will see the Hornets. Suns minus 4.5, 226.5 the total.
I mean, it's just got to be the Suns. Charlotte is awful. I don't care if they played last night. I don't care if Beal comes off the bench. The Hornets are awful. It's got to be the Suns.
It's got to be the Suns. And yes, they have done some lineup changes. Beal had 25 off the bench last night for Phoenix. So we shall see. Rockets are in Washington against the Wizards tonight. Heavy lumber, minus 13.5 on the road, 224.5 the total.
I mean, honestly, this is all about math at some point. It's not about basketball because the Hornets or the Rockets are way better than the Wizards. I mean, head and shoulders. And I'm talking dandruff here. I'm talking they are that much better. I still think they're going to whack them. Give me the Rockets.
Yeah, the Wizards suck, man. I mean, they're a really bad basketball team. First game of the TV doubleheader is in Dallas. We were just talking about the Mavericks and how the guys that they're missing. Well, they have the Lakers coming to town tonight. Lakers minus 6.5, 218.5 the total.
No one's playing for Dallas. Give me Dallas and the 6.5 point.
No one's playing. Back them. Let's go. Take the points with the 6 at a hook. The Timberwolves playing a back-to-back. They're in Nolens against the Pelicans. Minnesota minus 4.5, 221.5 the total.
I mean, New Orleans really is awful. And in fact, I just want to put this out there now. We're going to the Super Bowl to do our show at the festivities at Media Row. If there's a Pelicans game at the Smoothie, I will not go. Give me the T-Wolves.
I would guess that they probably sent them out of town that week. That would just be my guess. And yes, I'm looking. They're out of town the whole week. So you're not going to get any Pelican action.
So they want everyone to be miserable in New Orleans.
They do want everybody to be miserable there. You could say that. Next, actually, we'll do the rest when we come back. I've got 3 other games, including the Celtics and the Nuggets tonight in Denver, best game of the night. So we'll do that, the other games, and then I've got a huge night of college rack. I mean, I got 4 racks of ribs in college tonight. There are so many big games.
It's so much better than the NBA. It's not even funny. Listen, I think the NBA falls short of college basketball every day. I think college basketball is way better.
This was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so we're still hitting some stragglers before we get into the college rack, which is 10 times better than the NBA.
Yes, Atlanta is in Utah tonight against the Jazz. Atlanta minus 6.5 on the road, 238.5 big total tonight in Salt Lake.
I got to tell you, this smells like teen spirit to me. The fix is in. It's got to be the Jazz. Give me the points. It's got to be the Delta Center. The fix is in. There's no way, because the Hawks should win this game going away, and they won't.
Probably not. Game of the night is in Denver. The last two NBA champions get together, the Celtics and the Nuggets. Boston minus 5.5 on the road at the Ball, 236.5 the total.
Wow.
Tough game.
I mean, yeah, it is. I'm willing to take a stab with the Nuggets and the 5.5.
Big Joker night. This is TV game, Celtics in town. This is a big Joker triple-double night for him, which I know he gets on a regular basis anyway, but that's where I'm going tonight for that. And the Heat, after losing in Sacramento last night in a couple of overtimes, are at Golden State tonight against the Warriors. Warriors minus 9.5, 215.5 the total.
So am I supposed to believe that because they played 2 overtimes last night that they're shot and they're not going to be able to give the Warriors a game at the Chase? That's what they're trying to sell me. I don't buy it. Give me the 9 in Miami.
It's a big number. It's a lot of wood. And the Warriors haven't exactly been blowing teams out, I guess you could say. They have not been too good. Didn't the Warriors get destroyed the other night? That's right. They lost by 30 to the Kings on Sunday night, the Warriors. So not a good scene there. By 30, they lost to them. So there you go. That is your night in the NBA this evening. Now, as you mentioned, the college rack is where it's going to be at. First of all, a few things from last night. Houston beat TCU 65-46. Ohio State needed 2 overtimes to beat Minnesota 89-88. And Wisconsin beat Rutgers 75-63 at the rack, which they now unfortunately call the Jersey Mikes or whatever it is over there. Tennessee still number 1 in the AP top 25. Auburn, Iowa State, Duke, and Alabama round out the top 5. Tennessee has been outstanding, but they got to do it in March. So that's one of those teams where they can win all they want now. And they destroyed Arkansas on Saturday, Scotty. I don't know if you saw. I know you were on the traveling road on Saturday, but Tennessee just kicked Arkansas's ass in that game. But they're the best right now, undefeated.
I don't believe that. I think they shoot terribly, and I've seen them brick like crazy. I still think Auburn's better than they are. Time will tell. I think the top 25 in college basketball is twice as meaningless as the college football AP top 20. They're both worthless.
I agree with that 100%. They mean absolutely nothing. Now, will Tennessee be undefeated by the end of tonight? They are going on the road to Florida, and the Gators are pretty damn good too. They're 13-1 and ranked 8th in the country, and the Gators are favored. Minus 2.5 for the Gators tonight in Gainesville. St. John's is at Xavier tonight. We have Pitt and Duke. You were talking at the course about that earlier. 14 and a hook for Duke at home tonight against 12-2 Pitt. Kentucky on the road at Georgia. Only 1.5 there. And Arizona, West Virginia. We'll start with this rack.
I like West Virginia at home in Morgantown. They've already proven how tough they can be. And then I'm going to go with Georgia in Athens. I like Pitt and 14.5 at Cameron Indoor. I think that'll be a great game in Durham tonight. I think Florida will outright and cover against Tennessee. Tonight you'll see the bricks flying. And I love St. John's laying 1.5 in the Cintas in the Queen City against, I think, Xavier 9-6. I mean, come on. You're 12-3. Win the game. What is the problem? This is a perfect game for them for their quad wins for the NCAA. You want to get into the tournament? You beat Xavier on the road tonight.
That is exactly what you need to do. And Luke likes hearing that as well about the Johnnies. Clemson at Louisville tonight. Louisville minus 3.5 in that one. We also have Utah visiting number 3 Iowa State. Big number there, 16.5. How about 12-2 Georgetown getting 13.5 at Marquette tonight. Seems a little heavy to me. Cincinnati is at Baylor, Kansas State at Oklahoma State.
Look, I like Louisville at the Yum. I really do. And Iowa State should kick Utah's ass in the Hilton Coliseum. That's all there is to it. Utah's 8-5. They suck. Marquette at home against Georgetown. It should be easy money, but I'm going to go high risk with Georgetown in the 12.5 to give them a game tonight. I like Baylor at home over Cincinnati, and I could give really a damn about this Kansas State-Oklahoma State game. I would typically say the Cowboys at home, but they're awful, and so is Kansas State. My recommendation is the under and nothing else.
Nebraska visiting Iowa tonight in the Big Ten. Iowa -4.5 at home. Nebraska's 12-2. They've been pretty good as well. Number 2 Auburn is at Texas tonight. They are 10.5-point favorites on the road. Mississippi State 13-1 at 13-1 Vandy. Mississippi State -3.5 on the road. Texas Tech and BYU, they're both 10-3. BYU -1.5, and SMU, who's out to an 11-3 start, also visits North Carolina tonight, catching 6.5 at Chapel Hill.
I'll take SMU in the points at the Dean Center, and then I'll take BYU and Provo. Vanderbilt outright at home. Give me the 3.5, but they'll win outright. And then I like Auburn to win at Texas, but I don't think they'll cover 10.5. I don't. I think they'll struggle tonight at the Moody in Austin and have problems. I still think they're the best team in the country, but it's never easy on the streets. And I'm going to go high risk with the Huskers tonight at the Carver Hawkeye Arena, which Carver High owns. Nebraska and 4.5 at Iowa.
How about that? Nebraska tonight. Last rack for you. LSU and Missouri, both 11-3 as well in the SEC. -7.5 for Missouri tonight at home. Michigan and UCLA at Pauley. I mean, you got to be kidding me tonight. Look at this matchup. -2.5 for the Bruins in that one. Also, I got some Mountain West for you. Utah State and San Diego State tonight. New Mexico and Wyoming. UNLV visiting Boise State. We love the late nights in the Mountain West.
We do. Here's what's going to happen. As far as, let's start with LSU covers. UCLA wins against Michigan at Pauley Pavilion. Utah State is going to have sex with San Jose State. They are going to destroy them. And then New Mexico, I think they cover 7 at Laramie. I really do. And then UNLV, where is that game? That game's at Boise.
The game's at Boise. Yep, at Boise tonight, UNLV. Boise -9.5
at home. I like them at home. I see it at 8.5, 9.5. I like 8.5. I'm comfortable with 9.5. Starts getting sketchy for me, but I think UNLV is relatively average. Boise gets it done at home.
Even later than that, St. Mary's is laying 13.5 to Loyola tonight out in the WCC for the 11 o'clock East tip. I know we love the late night games on the West Coast.
That's in Moraga. I think St. Mary's covers.
There you go. A really strong night of college rack that you have ahead of you there. If you can't get excited tonight, tons of good teams playing.
Every team in the MAC is playing. Like literally every single team. Listen to this. EMU and Toledo, Kent and NIU, Miami of Ohio and Ball State, Central Michigan and Akron, Ohio and Buffalo, Bowling Green and Western Michigan. Every single team is playing in the MAC tonight as well. On top of that, bevy of great games in college rap.
This was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High. Everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey, and there's a pretty big slate here on Tuesday night that we have to get to. First of all, Colorado beat Florida 3-1 last night. The Devils, who were absolutely sputtering to get home, they're on a very long trip out west where they were losing games to the Ducks and the Sharks and all these awful teams. Well, they finally got a win. They beat Seattle 3-2 last night as they finally get to come home and sleep in their own bed. Montreal, me and Ranieri both liked Montreal yesterday on the show, and they got the win at home as a dog against the Canucks 5-4. Suzuki with the overtime winner, and the over for Buffalo and Washington 4-3 in a shootout. So some pretty good picks with the hockey yesterday here on C2C that we had going into last night. All right, let's get into this evening. We'll start in Boston, where the Oilers and the Bruins get together tonight. Oilers favored on the road here, minus $1.50, 5.5 the total.
Yeah, I like the Oilers here in Boston. I just, they're 24-12 now. They're winning, they're scoring, and they're better than the Bruins.
All you need to know about the Bruins is they lost to the Islanders on Sunday. So that's as bad as it gets. You lose to the Islanders at home. That's never good. The Senators are in Detroit against the Red Wings. Ottawa, also a road favorite tonight. They're minus $1.18. You get the Red Wings now plus 102. I got the Red Wings at plus 105 at this second. 5.5 is the total.
Again, I'm going to go Senators on the road. They're better.
Much better than Detroit, even though they're pretty close with the points. But still, I just think Ottawa's a better hockey team than them. Dallas is in the Garden tonight against the Rangers. Rangers, we know, have had all kinds of problems. Dallas, another road favorite. 3 for 3 with the road favorites here. Minus 176 for the Stars, plus $1.46 for the Rangers, and a 6.5.
Again, the Stars are better than the Rangers. Give me Dallas.
Let's see if we can make it 4 for 4. No, we can't make it 4 for 4 because it's hockey night in Pittsburgh at the PPG. The Blue Jackets are in town to see the Penguins this evening. Minus $1.54 for the Pens, plus 128 for the Jackets, and a 6.5.
It's got to be the Penguins because I'm not going to the Senators and Lightning game Saturday and Sunday.
I was going to say, and those were such perfect starts. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, Saturday and Sunday, back-to-back home games, long homestand here for the Penguins. I mean, geez, that's the rough part about it, is that you're going to miss all of that. It is over. You're not going. You're out. One of the good games tonight, Hurricanes in Tampa against the Lightning. What do you know? Another road favorite, minus 120 for the Canes, even money for the Lightning, and a 5.5.
I'll go Lightning at home at even money.
I'll go Lightning tonight as well. I'm with you on that. The trend continues. The Leafs are road favorites in Philadelphia against the Flyers tonight. They're minus $1.40, plus 116 for the Flyers, and a 6.5.
I got to go Leafs. Again, they're just better than the Flyers. I don't care where the game is.
Doesn't matter where the game is, that's for sure. Blues are in Minnesota against the Wild this evening. Change here. We do got a home favorite. Minus 134. Down actually to minus 120 I'm seeing with the Wild. Even money for the Blues and a 5.5.
I mean, the Wild have been unbelievable, and you're giving them to me at minus $1.20. Boom, Minnesota.
Yeah, and St. Louis, I just don't think they're that great. I mean, they've kind of climbed themselves back to 500 here, but I do not think they're a good hockey team. The Predators are in Ferrallapeg against the Jets tonight. Jets minus 162, plus $1.34 for Nashville, who's had all kinds of problems, as we know. 5.5 the total here.
I mean, Nashville stinks. The Jets puck line it, money line it, do whatever you want with it. Put it in a deep fryer. It's automatic.
Automatic. And now to the Duck Pond, where the Flames are in town against the Ducks. Flames, again, road favorite, minus 160, plus $1.32 for Anaheim, and a 6.5. You know, on this one, though, I'm taking the home dog here. The Ducks have actually, Scotty, they've been pretty spunky at the Duck Pond. They beat Winnipeg at home last week. They beat the Devils at home last week. They've actually been winning some games on home ice.
I'm with you. I like the Ducks.
Let's go. Ducks fly together. And finally, at the Shark Tank, I don't think the Sharks will be as lucky as the Ducks tonight, though, because they have the Knights in town who absolutely own the Sharks, beating them like 12 out of 14 or something like that. Minus 270 now. Big lumber of the night for Vegas, plus 220 for the Sharks, and a 6.5.
You got to puck line it with Vegas. They own them. They'll do it again tonight. They'll get it done at the Tank. No problem.
No problem. There you go. Very big night on the ice. Did you see in your travels over the weekend the end of that World Junior Championship with the United States coming from behind and winning the overtime game against Finland with the golden goal? United States wins again.
I knew they won their second straight. And they get the goal, but how did they do it? Like, what were they down?
They were down 2, I believe, in the game. I was not very locked in. I was more in on the Lions and the Vikings on Sunday night. But I did see them rally to tie Finland, get it to overtime. But they were down early. They didn't tie them late in the third. I'm pretty sure it was tied going into the third. They had come back. But they do get the overtime winner. When they play 3-on-3 overtime continuous till there's a winner, which is kind of bizarre. But either way, the United States champions of the World Juniors back-to-back years, and they are in, I think they're in Minnesota next year, back to the States, so they bring the gold home next year.
Why is the USA winning the Worlds every year? I thought Canada was the best team in the world.
Yeah, that's over with. The United States youth program over the last 5 to 10 years has bulked up and gotten good, and they have some really good young players that have come through their system now. You see it throughout the league as well. The United States is, listen, I'm not saying they're all the way there, but they've made some ground.
Donald Trump is a big fan of the U.S. junior team. He says that Canada is a state, and it's not a powerhouse like the USA. They're just a state.
This was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We love leftovers.
We certainly do. We still, day to day, get some small baseball stories, as there's still some guys out there that have not signed yet. We're still waiting on the likes of Pete Alonso and a few others, Alex Bregman. But we did get for you today the Rooker Man, one of our favorites on the Taters here on Coast to Coast. He won us a lot of money last year, and he just got himself some money. 5 years, $60 million to stay with the A's, who, of course, will be in Sacramento this coming year as before they eventually reroute to Vegas. And it looks like our boy, the Rooker Man, will be with them when they make that move over there on the corner of Tropicana to get themselves involved. So congratulations to Brent Rooker. The Dodgers trade Gavin Lux, second baseman, to the Reds for a couple of minor leaguers. There was talk the Yankees were in on that, Scotty, trying to get Lux from the Dodgers to play second base. And that they were also talking to the Padres about Louis Arai, who does have a high batting average, and that's about it. Doesn't do anything else.
And they got neither. They got nothing.
So far, they have not neither. And now you're hearing that Arai isn't really a fit for them. Well, who is a fit for them? Who's playing? Who is going to be a fit for them?
Isn't a hit.
Well, I guess that's no good because he doesn't do anything else well. I know you'll be locked in tonight. I know there's a lot of college basketball, but believe it or not, there is golf tonight. If you can get involved at the TGL, the Golf League, will make its debut. Now, this is the thing that Rory and Tiger put together about 4 years ago, and they're finally getting it off the ground tonight. They'll be down there at the SoFi Center down in Florida for this. They've got this huge simulation arena. There's a screen. There's a moving green. They're going to putt and chip on it. Looks pretty cool. New York will face the Bay Golf Club tonight. New York is Xander Schauffele, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Ricky Fowler. The Bay is Ludwig Aubert, Wyndham Clark, and Shane Lowry. Look, I told Stewie a few weeks ago, Scotty, that there's no way I could bet on them hitting balls into screens. But since we're here and they tee off in 3 hours, I've changed my mind. I'm on the Bay Golf Club tonight at even money down at the TGL.
Well, then
to
I'll
get
take
the
the
win
New
over
York
to
Golf Club. Why not?
Take New York. Stewie will give us the report tomorrow on Golf Wednesday for it. North Dakota State beat Montana State 35-32. It was a hell of a game in the second half to win their 10th FCS championship. Congrats to the Bison as they get it done. And later this week, as you know, we'll really start to dive in on this tomorrow. The college football playoff semis are around the corner doing push-ups. Thursday night, Hard Rock, Notre Dame and Penn State. Friday night, Dallas, Ohio State, and Texas. We're almost here, and I hope the games are going to be good because we know we've had a lot of duds in the college football playoffs so far.
You think that it's Notre Dame and Ohio State?
I think
really.
It's Notre Dame. I think it's Notre Dame. I'm getting a little, Lisi's been pulling me in on Texas a little bit the last couple days. So because I can't stand Ohio State, but they're probably going to win. But Lisi's been pulling me in on the Texas number as we get closer to Friday.
Well, he thinks that Texas is covering 5.5 against Ohio State.
Well, he thinks they're winning. No, he thinks Texas is winning the game on Friday night. He says Texas is winning. So he's all in on the Longhorns.
It's going to be a long Friday night for him.
Could be a long Friday night for him, that's for sure. There you go.
Right.
We'll do more of it the next few days.
All right, so how about Ferrall finish? A Marine has been charged with murdering a reality TV contestant who was working as an escort at the Sweet Dream Inn. Wait a minute. Isn't that down the street from where we're staying? And no, that's not down the street. I'm wrong. Mafia says to keep going. Oklahoma teacher and wife of police chief. Gotta admit, that was good. Oklahoma teacher and wife of police chief sentenced for sexually abusing a 15-year-old student. We always like to get in the, older people, teachers, adults, having sex with children. Glad we're coming along these days in this country so fabulously. Long Island driver strikes an elderly pedestrian, then drags the victim to the side of the road before fleeing the scene. I mean, this is the person of the year. Hits an old person, old lady, old man, drives over him with both axles, gets out and drags the body to the curb. Then gets back in their car and goes about their business to have another cocktail. I have seen it all. Carver Hot GTD is next. Get my app. Just search Ferrall. It's badass. We like to call it Fistful of Dollars. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
Like to toot my own horn, and I know that I'm setting myself up for probably disappointment later tonight, but I hope you were with us last week on the Final Five because we almost swept the board. We had 2 out of 3 on the power play points with Reinhart and Matthews. We hit the goal scorer line A. We hit the side with Washington. We hit the total with the over in Toronto and Buffalo. So we had a really good Final Five last week, and I'm hoping that we can now ride that wave.
Only on SportsGrid.
50 points in a fourth quarter for the Atlanta Hawks. Like, what is going on? It's like circus numbers. What are we doing?
And we sound like two old heads complaining. It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch sometimes. I don't mind the shooting. I just know the numbers. Like, when you strictly look at it from the numbers in betting, it's getting really hard to bet.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The NBA will take center stage once football stops, and people will watch the NBA playoffs and all that. But the standings are whacked out in the Western Conference. Like Oklahoma City, Memphis, and the Houston Rockets are the best teams in the conference.
You want to talk about a team with overs and no defense? The Wizards are your team. It's unbelievable. They can't make a total high enough. It's nuts.
Sports Rage tonight. Weeknights 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.